Act 4, Scene 2, and this is in Fife at Macduff's castle. Now, we know that Macduff has fled to England to try and get help from the English king to try and raise an army to bring back up to Scotland to defeat Macbeth. But this is not really going to help Macduff's family, who are left quite exposed. And in the very end of the last scene, Macbeth had pledged to have Macduff's family killed. Enters Lady Macduff, her son, and Ross. Lady Macduff. What had he done to make him fly the land? Ross. You must have patience, madam, Lady Macduff. He had none. His flight was madness. When our actions do not, our fears make us traitors. So he had done nothing wrong in terms of the king. Nothing that he couldn't have made peace for, and now he's run off and he made himself look guilty, and we are all now exposed. You know not whether it was his wisdom or his fear. Wisdom, she says. To leave his wife, to leave his babes, his mansion and his titles in a place from whence himself does fly. He loves us not. He wants the natural touch. For the poor wren, the most diminutive of birds, will fight her young ones in the nest against the owl. All is the fear and nothing is the love. As little is the wisdom where the fight so runs against all reason. So even the wren stays in her nest to fight against the owl. Again, some bird imagery there. She's raging that her husband has gone and left them to fend for themselves, while he's gone to England. My dearest coz, this is Ross, I pray you school yourself. But for your husband, he is noble, wise, judicious, and best knows the fits of the season. I dare not speak much further, but cruel are the times when we are traitors and do not know ourselves. That's important. Cruel are the times when we are traitors and do not know ourselves. So this idea, reinforcing the idea of the reign of terror, I'm afraid to say anything in case somebody hears me, like we're constantly being called traitors and you can be taken out and shot for any reason at the moment. It's a pure tyrannical reign at the moment. When we hold rumour from what we fear, yet know not what we fear, but float upon the wild and violent sea, each way to move. I take my leave of you. Shall not be long, but I'll be here again. Things at the worst will cease, or else climb upward to what they were before. So this can't go on forever. It will end, or at least improve. It can't stay like this. And then he says to the little son, my pretty cousin, blessing upon you. Lady Macbeth. Lady Macduff, excuse me. Fathered he is, and yet he is fatherless. So she's sort of saying that the young fella has no father now because his father has absconded to England. Ross says, I am so much a fool. Should I stay longer? It would be my disgrace and your discomfort. I take my leave at once. I'm going to go now. You're speaking in an inappropriate way, and I'm going to leave. And it's also not safe. Nothing is safe anymore. I need to get out of here. Lady Macduff says, Sirrah, and she says this to her son, your father's dead. And what will you do now? How will you live? So she's really kind of like bent on this idea that because he has abandoned them, he has left his son without a father. As birds do, mother. What, with worms and flies? Son, with what I get, I mean, and so do they. So the son is quite uplifting. He's quite a sweet little guy, a bit of a character, and it provides a moment of comic relief. Now, remember, we've just had the big apparition scene before this. We know that Macbeth has decided he wants to kill his family. They don't know it yet, but, there's a terrible, gloomy reign of terror, on top of everybody here. So this little child kind of brings a bit of comic relief to the stage. No more than the porter in Act 2. Per bird, thou'dst never fear the net, nor lime the pitfall, nor the gin. Well, why should I, mother? Poor birds, they are not set for. My father is not dead, for all you're saying, Lady Macduff. Yes, he is dead. How wilt thou do for a father? Son. Nay, how will you do for a husband? Macduff, Lady Macduff. Why, I can buy me 20 at any market. And son. Then you'll buy 'em and sell 'em again. Lady Macduff. Thou speakest with all thy wit, and yet in faith with wit enough for thee. And the son. Was my father a traitor, mother? This is a serious question. Is my father a traitor? Aye, that he was. She's really angry to say that about her husband, that he was a traitor. He's not a traitor to Scotland, but he's a traitor to their family. What is a traitor? Says the son. Why, one that swears and lies. And the son. And be all traitors that do so? Lady Macduff. Everyone that does so is a traitor and must be hanged. And the son. Well, they must all be hanged and swear and lie. Macduff. Everyone. Son. Who must hang them? Lady Macduff. Why, the honest men. The son. Then the liars and the swearers are fools. And for there are liars and swearers enough to beat the honest men and hang them up. Lady Macduff. Now God help thee, poor monkey. How wilt thou do for a father? And the son says, if he were dead, you'd weep for him. And if you would not, it were a good sign that I should quickly have a new father. So he's sort of mocking her, but kind of half joking, saying, you really would cry if he was really dead. Or I would not be long getting a new father. So it's a little bit of a salacious thing to say. Lady Macduff says, poor little prattler, how you talkest. So enters a messenger. The messenger says, bless you, fair dame. I am not to you known, though in your state of honour I am perfect. I doubt some danger does approach you nearly. If you will take a homely man's advice, be not found here, hence with your little ones, to fright you. Thus methinks I am too savage. To do worse to you were fell cruelty, which is too nigh your person. Heaven preserve you, I dare abide no longer. And he runs out again. So this messenger has come and said, you do not know me, but I need to warn you that you are in grave, grave danger and you need to get out of here. And then he runs off the stage again. So he's terrified of being caught there and being killed himself. Lady Macduff says, whither should I fly? Like, where would I go? I have done no harm. But I remember now I am this earthly world, where to do harm is often laudable, and to do good sometimes accounted dangerous folly. So she's remarking upon the fact that you don't have to be a bad person. If you can be a bad person and get away with murder, and be a good person and be held accountable for lots, and do sometimes accounted dangerous folly. Why then, alas, do I put my womanly defence to say I have done no harm? Anyway, it's too late. They had a couple of seconds there to get out, but she didn't, and now enter the murderers. What are these faces? The first murderer says, where is your husband, Lady Macduff? I hope in no place so unsanctified, where such as thou mayst find him. So for all her talk, she does love him and she doesn't want him to be found by these murderers. First murderer says, he's a traitor. And the son says, thou liest, thou shag-eared villain. And the first murderer, what? You? Egg? So insulting him like, like an egg, like he's only an infant. He's not even a fully fledged creature yet. Young fry of treachery. And he kills him on the stage. And it is rare enough, actually, to see a child being killed on the stage in a Shakespearean play. So that adds to the horror, and it further cements the reign of terror that has been increasing and increasing. The idea that Macduff's young child would be murdered purely in revenge because Macbeth feels secure in the knowledge that, none of woman born may harm him. So he feels quite safe that Macduff cannot kill him, but he has his family murdered anyway. So that is, there's the Rubicon he has crossed, and he can never come back from that. The son says, he has killed me, mother. Run away, I pray you. Exits Lady Macduff, crying, murder! And pushed by the murderers with her son. Pursued by the murderers with her son. So she is certainly going to be murdered off stage, and it's a short scene where we establish that really Macbeth, like I said, has crossed the Rubicon. There's no coming back from killing innocent women and children. And Macduff has, maybe in hindsight, left them very, very exposed by going to England for the greater good to try and, get the dictatorship under control. But he has paid a very, very heavy price for his patriotism.